Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Wisdom Wednesday broadcast with myself, Timber Robin. And today I'm sitting with Mr. David Fourie, who's going to be telling us a little bit about blended learning. How are you, David?
Funny you, Timber.
Lekker, man, lekker. So kick us off. What is blended learning?
All right, so blended learning is just basically a style of education in which students learn via electronic and online media as well as traditional face-to-face contact classes. At CTU, blended learning approach to course delivery combines face-to-face classrooms and also online platforms like our Cole Campus, our electronic portfolio of evidence, the O'Reilly Books Online. So it's quite diverse. Practicals as well as group and research activities are also taking place either online or in a face-to-face situation.
Cool. So how did CTU implement blended learning?
All our theory-based classes are conducted via virtual lecture-led interactive training, or VLIT, and these are usually with the aid of flipped classrooms, which means it's interactive, it's online, as I said previously with our previous platforms that we conduct those training in as well. So students use independent study time to watch lecture videos, content, or read an e-guide that introduces new concepts, for example. They then use these class times either to conduct a virtual or a VLIT session with their facilitator to discuss certain concepts if they need to be. They can either be done online or virtually, or their specific sessions also then conducted on campus, which is quite nice to have that face-to-face contact in an interaction with the facilitator as well.
Cool. So you've mentioned this word VLIT a couple of times. There's obviously a long form version of it, but what is VLIT?
VLIT teaching is the platforms that we use for that currently at CTU is our Office 365 or Microsoft Teams. And it's quite a nice platform for that online classes, interactive with the students. What's nice about it is I can have all my students at once in one classroom. I can record the sessions, which makes it easier for availability afterwards, for students to study afterwards if they wish to do so. And also Teams allows lecturing staff to facilitate these training sessions live to students. I think that's the main thing, is that live interaction. It's not a pre-recording that the student will listen to. So you still have that personal interaction somehow, although it's a little bit virtually. But I think that personal touch, and what's nice about it as well is a student can ask you a question immediately. So you do classes, they can ask you a question immediately, which is nice. So you can progress in your lesson, understanding your students that they do understand. And I think the big plus point with VLIT classes, especially this platform, is the fact that you give the student, the shy student in your classroom. We all know we've got that shy student in the classroom that usually sits in the back and he's too afraid to ask a question because he might sound stupid or whatever the case is. Now you give that student a voice because it's only him and you. He feels more comfortable, and especially I'll talk a little bit later on that as well, is the type of students that we work with, that we have these days in our classes. They're comfortable with that electronic environment, and that's the plus point, is to give that student a voice and also then progress with the rest of the class as well.
Sure. So that's, VLT is very interesting. So my next question then is, how does load shedding, power failures, technical difficulties and sort of all those problems, how do they affect blended learning?
Yeah, I think we're in a difficult situation currently, I'll say South African countrywide, is obviously load shedding. I think it's going to be with us for a few more years. And that makes the teaching environment difficult because we're working with online stuff, electronic stuff, which needs powers, obviously. It makes it quite difficult. And also, you're not always 100% sure when the power will go down, or what. It might not even be load shedding. It can just be something happens and you've got no power. And what we then do, especially with the VLIT and the platform that we use, which is Office 365 or Teams, is we record the sessions while we are teaching. So if you are not in the classroom, it's not the end of the world. Those videos are then downloaded and uploaded on our platform called Campus, and the student can always go back and say, I've missed this session for that day. I can download the video and I can watch the video, and I actually haven't missed any classes in a broad sense. We also give the students support. I think the biggest support that we do give them is via our campus operations management. So if they do have any technical problems at home and they don't have bandwidth or internet or whatever the case might be, they can also contact our campus operations manager, make an arrangement to come into class for that specific time period of time, and then attend the classes if he wishes to do so.
Sure, lots of options and lots of problem solving available.
Definitely.
So my last question then is, did the students adapt to this new idea of blended learning?
Yes, I've touched a little bit earlier on that as well, and I think if you look at the type of students that we work with, we call them Generation Z now, and this generation is we call it a bandwidth emerged generation. So they are the people that's got the cell phones, the tablets, the laptops, 100 plus TV channels, etc. So that's the environment that they're working with. And we also got to remember the current student that we have in 2021 is students that went through matric in the COVID last year.
Yes.
Okay, so they are also now used to these type of teaching because that's how matric was done last year. But I think it's an ideal situation for that blended learning for both worlds, because we are moving into a technical and electronic environment one day. And to get them used to this and trained, and also I don't think it's just the theory that we're teaching the student in classes, but it's also that soft skill, that thing that they don't think about, that we also teach them. And then later when they start using them, they realize, okay, but I know this, I know how to move forward. But yes, we also got to keep in consideration we are in a COVID pandemic, and as much as we can, and as far as regulations and legislation allow, we do have some student life on campuses, but yes, it is quite limited. So to answer your question, Themba, I think students these days adapt to that much easier that we think, which makes our life a lot easier.
Oh, that's good. It's a shout out to everybody at home who's adapting so quickly. Hats off to you guys. But for now, we're gonna wrap that up. Thank you, David, for your time and giving us some insight into blended learning.
Excellent. Thank you, Themba.
Cool. That's all we have for you today, friends. But stay tuned for the next Wisdom Wednesday episode coming up soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, you. Hey, yeah, you. Don't miss the next episode of the Wisdom Wednesday Newsish broadcast. Give this video a like and subscribe to CTU Training Solutions YouTube channel. And if you want to apply for any of our programs and courses, click the link in the video description below. Down there. It's down somewhere there. You guys know where to find it.